back. So now I am making my pumpkin chaffles. So it's a pumpkin muffin recipe that I got from the Keto Twins, and they have a link to the recipe in their post. So I'm gonna make these and try to see what they turn out in the chaffle maker. So the first thing I have, so in this large 3-cup bowl for, and this is the prep bowls from Pampered Chef. So in this one, I've got 1.5 cups of almond flour. Here, let me show you guys here. So these are my dry ingredients right here. So I've got 1.5 cups of almond flour. I've got 1/2 cup of coconut flour. We've got, I think it is, oh, here it is. Yeah, so I've got 1/2 cup of granulated sweetener. So this is what I'm trying today. And then we've got a tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice and a teaspoon of baking soda. So these are all my dry ingredients in that bowl. Okay, so here's the dry ingredients. They're gonna go in, and just make sure I get it out with my Skinny Mini scraper, which again is on that last chance sale with Pampered Chef until the 31st. So if you're wanting to get this little guy, go snag some. They are going away, making room for new products. They're saying that they're going away forever. So, but definitely if you're looking for something you want to, keep it, give it, gift it. Here's my 1/2 cup of the granulated sweetener. And another thing I love about these prep bowls is that the measurements are on the side. So there's milliliters on one side, and then there's the cup measurements on the other. And then they're easy to clean up because they are glass. So I am just gonna mix this up. I've got my mix and masher so I can squish out all of those lumps and incorporate everything. One of my friends turned me on to the mix and masher, and I love it. I've been using it for guacamole, egg mixtures, my baking recipes. So it's just, I even used it to make the other day some egg salad. So I had a hard-boiled egg and I just smashed it up with this guy. So I'm just trying to get out all the lumps in here, because we don't want to take a bite of our chaffle or muffin and then get a big old chunk in there of dry ingredients. We want it all to be mixed together and flavorful. And so I know that I'm getting them out because I can see these little off-white pieces when I'm mixing it. And so now it looks like, I was seeing if it smelled like pumpkin. So I've got that. It looks nice there. And now we're gonna add in our wet ingredients. So I've got 1 egg with a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay. I've got my melted butter that I did in my egg cooker. It's a 1/4 cup, so 1/2 stick. And so I melted that in my egg cooker. It was very easy, 25 seconds. So I just put the 1/2 stick in there. I didn't even chop it up, and then just put it in there for 25 seconds. I also had melted some cream cheese in here. It was a little more difficult to get it out. So if you have, just a bigger bowl, maybe one of these, either the 2-cup or 3-cup, put that in there, and then just, a few seconds, like 35 maybe. That over there, we need to get that nice and clean. And the third ingredient for our moisture is the pumpkin. Remember, this is pumpkin mix. It's pumpkin puree. It's not the pumpkin pie mix with the sweeteners and the seasonings. So if you put that in there, your muffins are gonna have lots of carbs because of the sugars in the pumpkin pie mix. And it's gonna be super sweet because you're adding sweetener and the pumpkin pie. So just keep that in mind. This is just pure pumpkin pureed. You can add this in your cream cheese and some sweetener. You can add it in your coffee in the morning. So all sorts of different ways to use. And that's, I buy a lot in the season, and that way I can make my pumpkin cream cheese. I can make put it in my coffee a tablespoon. So now we're just going to incorporate these in and get it nice and smooth. I've got my chocolate maker turned on already and warming up. And we're just going to get this mixed up. So like I said, let me turn this down just a little so you guys can see it. So I'm just going around the edges and mashing and then turning the bowl. And by the way, these are Pampered Chef's mixing bowls. There are, I want to say 3 sizes. You can get them as a set. And so if you're making a big old salad or something, you can use the big one. We use this one and the one size up when we're making burgers so that I can make his flavor in one and mine in the other. So it looks like it's getting incorporated. I can hear the granulated sugar in there. See the little crystals. So I want to make sure again we get this all mixed up because we don't want to get a big old clump of something. Now this is very thick, you see, very, very thick. Okay. Now remember with baking is you can also, because I put my dry ingredients in those cups. So if this, by chance is a little too thick and too dry, I'm wondering if perhaps maybe we should do it by weight instead next time. So it's always trial and error. We're going to see how this works. So oftentimes what I do is I take my 1 tablespoon measuring scoop and I put like 2.5, maybe 3 in my chocolate maker. So let's go see if it's ready. Making some room here. All right. So here's my chocolate maker. You guys see this? And the light is green on top. All right. So this batter, it looks like it's gonna make a lot. So I am going to, where's my spatula? Okay. So there's 2 tablespoons. 2 heaping tablespoons is what I just put in here. So we're gonna be making lots in this truffle maker here. And I may go ahead and put some in some mini muffin tins as well. And that way, I can see what it's like both and just put it in my air fryer here because we do have bake. So I'm going to need to reheat that. All right, so I'm going to go grab one of my spatulas. All right, so I'm just going to spread this out a little bit. And don't touch it with your fingers, but yeah, these look a little drier than I was thinking, but we do have the almond flour, we do have the coconut flour. So the moisture that we're getting here is from, okay, so I've got about maybe 3.5 tablespoons. So these are heaping tablespoons, and we may adjust it afterwards. So the next batch, we may do a little bit less. I just want to see how many we're going to get out of this giant recipe. It does look like it's a lot. Okay. Yeah, those look like they're pretty thick. We may stick with 2. Now we're just going to close it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my muffin tin out. Now, I'm not sure what the recipe calls for temperature-wise. I want to say it's 350, but I'm not sure. So I'll get you guys to see this. Yeah, can you see it over here? A little bit. Here, I'm going to move this down a little bit. There we go. So I've got my muffin tin. This is my half muffin tin from Pampered Chef. And, oh, I can smell that pumpkin cooking in there. So right now I'm putting heaping tablespoons in my muffin tin. these are very, very moist. You have to, I mean, not moist. They're a little bit like, almost like a cookie dough. Okay, so we've got 4 in there and we've got 6 in here. And I'm just gonna, I'm squishing them down in the bottoms because I don't know if they're gonna spread. And that way it also gives me a better picture of, you know, how much I need in there. And then this will give us plenty to have to make some more truffles or more muffins. So we're gonna see how each of them work. Okay, so I've got this all in here. Should be about the same thickness. Okay, so I just squished them down in there and we're gonna see how that works. I've got my air fryer heating up. Now, like I said, this seems to be making quite a bit. And I'm wondering about the liquid contents. But I'll come and I'll update this recipe later. So look at how much we have left. My goodness. So that's enough for probably some more truffles. All right, guys, I will add a picture onto this and the taste testing in another video.